After all of that awareness and effort I had made to raise money and help people, how dare my body fail me? Those shiny awareness ribbons would not define me. Through the smoke and terror of battle, they acted as a guide, a symbol, and a rallying point. Did you know that cancer kills more people every year than the number who have perished in the history of domestic terror attacks? We are in the eye of a massive terrorist attack on our bodies as a global community. In the wake of all of this awareness are people battling the issues represented by the ribbons and emblems. They are fighting for something. We are fighting for something. Behind the ribbons are the faces of people bandaging the wounded, receiving medicine, dealing with an enemy who need love and healing. These ribbons and t-shirts, relays and marathons are a wonderful way to raise money and awareness. These things empower those of us who have survived or have been caregiving and provide a tangible way to honor people who lost their battles. But the colorful ribbons, as nice as they are, should be a little less shiny, in my opinion, a little less brilliant. They should reflect our battle. I'm thinking of the way our country's flag looked after battle, tattered and torn. That is a real and honest awareness. Cancer brings us to our breaking point, but awareness helps us prepare for and carry on during this war that we need to live. Love is a very painful emotion, but that love reignites itself. As Max Ehrmann says so eloquently in the famous Desiderata poem, neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Speaking of love, I've been married to my husband, Daryl, for almost 20 years, and my body has given birth to 6 children. Each of them multiplying my ability to love beyond my wildest expectations. We have 3 girls and 3 boys. My husband and I met at church in St. Louis, Missouri, while I was completing my public relations degree at Missouri Baptist University. Daryl had overcome many hardships at the time that we met. We were both convicted to marry only once and committed to never allow an argument to go unresolved. As instructed in Ephesians 4:26, where Paul said, "To be angry, yet do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger." Since Daryl and I had witnessed the end of marriages as children, we wanted to be sure that before our vows, we made this step without taking it lightly. We discussed all of these things with our parents. Shortly after my husband proposed to me in 1994, I had the pleasure of meeting his very eccentric grandmother, Eileen. She was 69 years old at the time and full of energy and was ahead of her time. She wore fashion jeans and she wore hoop earrings. She met me at Daryl's mother's doorstep. She pulled me back to her guest bedroom and she said, "No, wait, Shiela, I've never had a granddaughter. You're my first one. I've only shown this scar to the women of my family. 24 years ago, I went in to have a lung removed. I woke up with my arm strapped across my chest, my husband weeping over me. He had to make a decision without consulting me, and he saved my life. Shiela," she said, "this flat area here is where my right breast used to be. I was in a good marriage. My husband saved my life," she said. "Daryl tells me he loves you, and I want you to know that he witnessed a good marriage. Mine." Grandma Eileen is now 89. If she was here tonight, she would have won that prize. She's been a breast cancer survivor for 45 years. Over the years, Daryl and I have faced our share of challenges, including the terror of nearly losing our premature son in 2002, our second daughter's multiple seizures in 2011, which continued to plague her. We've welcomed our 6th child, and we've gone through a series of roadblocks in Daryl's career, and we've moved out of state several times. All of these things were preparing for us for a major upset. And through all of it, I was always reminded of Grandma Eileen's story of love and survivorship. In the fall of 2012, Daryl had to make a very similar decision as his grandfather did without consulting me, and he saved my life. It is interesting how history seems to repeat itself. My biopsy surgery took a serious turn when I nearly bled to death. Daryl was consulted to authorize a blood transfusion, and he did so, leaning heavily on the board, and I lived another day. Instead of going home after a routine procedure, I stayed the night at CMC Lincolnton and faced the reality of being a new cancer patient and that I was very blessed and very loved. Not every patient has the kind of love in their life that I have enjoyed, and I wish that weren't true. However, that night in the hospital, I felt isolated, petrified, not knowing what was going to happen to me. Shortly before I began treatments for Hodgkin's lymphoma, my oldest child, ill with symptoms of mono. She was halfway through her 10th grade year in high school, on the way to the urgent care to figure out what was going on, which was the night after my bone marrow biopsy, which, by the way, I had with no anesthesia. It was really bad. Head-on collision. We were okay, and so was the other driver. But I realized that driving was definitely not something I could do until I was well again. It really shook me. Her blood counts were elevated, a chest x-ray revealed, and large lymph nodes. When our pediatrician alerted me of these findings, I was with a friend, and she can attest that I completely lost it. I lost all my composure. I felt so out of control. Haley's CT scan confirmed our worst fears, and she was also stricken with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Nothing can prepare a mother for the news that her child has cancer, and I am no exception. In private, I screamed silently at the universe, burying my face and soaking my pillows. How dare this happen to my kid? And she proved to be ready to face everything that we both needed to face. Daryl and I allowed Haley to make most of her medical decisions, and she did so with absolutely fierce, warrior-like tenacity. I'm so proud of her. She even made the decision on her own to preserve her fertility before she started chemo, before her ovaries were damaged and poisoned. She really impressed us with that decision and has inspired other young cancer patients to do the same thing. Together, Haley and I went through testing, surgeries, chemo, radiation, and were both hospitalized several times. It was really, really hard, as many of you have been through. It's a hard road. The experience has forever changed us, and I am happy to report that we are both in remission, and we are both cancer-free, have been for 1 year. My challenge tonight is that each person here proudly spreads awareness of the battle that a cancer diagnosis means to you by being honest and open with people who just don't get it. I didn't get it. Being involved with a Relay for Life is one way to shine your light. Number 2, how did the American Cancer Society help you? Well, we were blessed with rides to and from our treatments for several months. And our representative in Charlotte, Ashley Trennan, she was amazing. She would call me, she would check up on me, and she really took a personal interest in our case. The American Cancer Society also helped further cancer research before my battle. The survivors who have gone before me and the research done before my diagnosis made my cure possible. I'm forever thankful for that. Number 3, how did the community help you? Well, that's the amazing thing. The community reaction to our double diagnosis had to be a historical event for Dallas, North Carolina. Rallied to our gifts for our kids, but ongoing meals, laundry service, house cleaning, child care, and more transportation to more doctor's appointments. I will never be able to express my gratitude to two women in particular who spearheaded this community effort, Summer Collins and Lisa Burgess. Number 4, how did this experience change your family relationships? My husband and I grew way closer. It was amazing. And under the circumstances, it could have gone the other way. We're much closer now than I think we've ever been. Our children matured in many ways and grew closer to each other. Not sure that's so true anymore, but at the time they were pretty good. I am also very much closer to my mom and dad. I just noticed a lot of doting that I hadn't experienced in years. I love my mom and dad so much, and I'm thankful for them. How did your diagnosis affect your faith? I was already a born-again believer. I was saved when I was 22. My spiritual walk is stronger, I think, than it ever has been. I relied on God a lot to help me deal with Haley's diagnosis in particular, because I had no other way of dealing with it. When you can't help your child, you have to draw strength from somewhere. I think that, unfortunately, a lot of parents, they become bitter, and they find a way of blaming others and blaming God for a bad thing. I tried not to do that. I turned to the scriptures and I drew a lot of strength from God. And that's probably my biggest victory, is that I am much more, I've got Jesus right arm in arm right now, more than I ever did in my whole life. So that's all I've got, and I just want to thank